Up until World War One, the Marine Corps had not really made a name for themselves, and they weren't a very well-known branch of the military yet. But over the month of June during World War One, they would make a name for themselves that the whole world would remember. After hearing of the German army pushing through a defensive line defending Paris and France, Colonel Paul B. Malone had on the spot commanded an entire battalion of Marines over 10 kilometers to help defend the French defensive line. Now, unfortunately, I don't have enough time to go into detail about what happened over the entire month of June, but I will point out some significant quotes, some actions that were literally written into military history that described how intense this battle was. Now, after just getting to the French defensive line, both sides were still suffering heavy losses, and after Marines were repeatedly urged back by the French army, Captain Williams, this is a famous quote. He said, after they were ordered to retreat, he said, "Retreat, hell, we just got here." But unfortunately, like I said, both sides were taking heavy losses. So I wouldn't say they retreated, but they reorganized themselves into one big battalion of troops. Now, over the next several weeks, the Marines and the French and parts of the army would go back and forth with the German army, trying to secure different parts of Belleau Wood and surrounding areas. But on the night of June 4th, big part was that 2 German soldiers were captured, and the Allies gathered valuable information, where the Germans were hiding machine gun nests, artillery positions. But unfortunately, the Germans caught wind of this, and they thought an attack would immediately happen after that. But weeks later, another heroic action by another Marine Corps legend, Dan Daly, which, if you know anything about the Marine Corps, could be seen as like a legend in the Marine Corps. They were marching through a waist-high wheat field, and they were taking machine gun fire. Bombs and artillery shells were going off next to them, and trying to inspire his men around him, Dan Daly, who was a recipient of 2 Medal of Honors, which is an absolutely absurd thing to do coming from one person. His famous quote, and excuse my language, he saw his men and he yelled, "Come on, you sons of bitches, do you want to live forever?" Which is also another famous quote in Marine Corps history. And after weeks of fighting in Belleau Wood, the battle was now at a deadlock. And in the morning of June 27th, a couple of platoons of Marines were digging themselves in to try to ambush some German soldiers. And since the Marine Corps was so keen on like marksmanship and stuff, their ambush was successful, and they held off several waves of German attacks. But unfortunately, shortly after this, the Germans started using great quantities of mustard gas, which is it's like a lung, blisters in your lungs, blisters on your skin. It's just terrible. And they were using this on their own men as well, which is just wild. And with this, the Marine Corps, like I said earlier, were trying to make a name for themselves, and they were very determined to help the French win this battle. and this is where the Marines earned their name or nickname the Devil Dogs. After being attacked by mustard gas, some of the hills they were trying to take were so steep. German soldiers reported them crawling on all fours, foaming at the mouth, with bloodshot eyes. And I don't want to try to say the German term for it because I don't want to butcher it, but the translation is Devil Dogs, and that's where we got the name Devil Dogs from, is from the Battle of Belleau. Now that was just an example of some of the more major heroic actions and famous quotes that came from this battle, and I would have to make a whole nother speech about the more detailed events of this, but that was just some of the more major heroic actions from the Marines finally taking Belleau towards the end of June, and just explaining some bravery, determination, and just brave men and women who played parts in this. Just it's a crazy battle, and there's actually a movie on it called The Devil Dogs. And if you want more information or you want a more realistic insight of the Battle of Belleau, I highly recommend it. It's a very accurate and realistic portrayal on what they went through, and some of the guys I named. I would recommend it if you want more information on it. But thank you.